You know that feeling when everything goes wrong at once. The flat tire on the way to the interview, the phone dying during the emergency call. The single worst possible moment arriving exactly when you can least afford it. You call it bad luck. You move on. But 74 million years ago, in what is now the Gobi Desert, one animal had the single worst moment in the entire fossil record. And it happened so fast, so violently, that the ground itself froze the moment in place forever. This is the story of the most unlucky velociraptor in history. Picture the scene first, not the movie version, the real one. Your velociraptor is small, turkey-sized, not truck-sized. It's covered in feathers. It hunts in a harsh, dry environment full of shifting sand dunes, somewhere between a desert and a dust bowl. Every day is a fight for water, for shade, for food that doesn't want to be found. On this particular day, it finds a protoceratops, a stocky, sheep-sized plant eater with a bony frill and a beak like a parrot. Not an easy meal, not a soft target. The velociraptor attacks anyway. It leaps onto the protoceratops, driving its sickle claw toward the throat. The protoceratops fights back, clamping its beak down on the raptor's arm. Hard. This isn't a quick kill. This is a real fight. Muscle against muscle, claw against beak, and neither animal is winning. And then, in the middle of that fight, the world collapses on top of them. Here's what modern researchers think actually happened, and it's stranger than a simple sandstorm. For years, the popular explanation was that a sudden desert storm buried the animals mid-battle. It's a dramatic image. It's also probably wrong. Paleontologist David Hone, working with geologist Tetsuto Miyashita, studied the sediment layers around the fossil and around similar Gobi finds. What they found wasn't windblown sand settling gently over hours. It was something closer to a collapse. A wet slope of sand destabilized by rain, giving way all at once and burying whatever stood at the bottom of it. Not a storm, a landslide made of sand. Think about what that means for the two animals locked together. They didn't have time to separate, they didn't have time to run. The ground simply stopped existing beneath them, and then it was above them, and then it was around them entirely. Why does this matter? Because it changes the whole story from unlucky weather to something closer to wrong place, wrong second. Most fossils form over thousands of years. Bone replaced slowly by mineral, buried gradually, pressed under layer after layer of rock. This one didn't have that luxury or that mercy. It was buried in what may have been minutes. That's the part that should stop you. Every other dinosaur fossil you've ever seen is a slow story. Bones scattered by scavengers, worn by rivers, buried across centuries. This one is a single frozen instant. A hunt interrupted mid-motion. A claw still raised. A beak still clamped down. Two animals that, as far as the rock can tell you, never even knew what killed them. The fossil was discovered in 1971 by a joint Polish-Mongolian expedition working in the Gobi's Jadokta Formation. When the team uncovered it, they found the velociraptor's arm still gripped inside the protoceratops' beak. The raptor's hind claw was still pressed against the plant eater's throat. It looked immediately like a fight that had simply been paused. Not ended. Paused. Paleontologists Rinchin Barsbold and Halska Osmolska, who studied and described the specimen, recognized right away that this wasn't two skeletons dumped together by accident. Every bone was positioned exactly where it would have been the instant before death. No scavenger had touched it. No river had scattered it. Nothing had moved. Ask yourself something. How often does anything in nature get preserved exactly as it happened, with zero decay, zero disturbance, zero time passing between the event and the record of it? Almost never. That's what makes this velociraptor the unluckiest animal in the fossil record. Not because it died in a fight. Predators die in fights all the time. It's unlucky because the universe took a photograph of its worst moment and never let the picture fade. Here's the part that gets stranger the longer you sit with it. The velociraptor might have actually been winning. Recent analysis of the specimen suggests the raptor's sickle claw was driven into the side of the protoceratops's neck, right where a killing blow would land. If the sand collapse hadn't happened, there's a real chance this fight ends in a meal. The raptor survives. The story is forgotten within hours, like every other hunt on every other day in the Cretaceous. Instead, the exact moment of near victory became the exact moment of death. That's not a small detail. That's the whole tragedy compressed into one fossil. This animal didn't lose the fight. It lost the fight to something that wasn't even in the fight, something happening from below in total silence while its entire focus was locked onto the throat in front of it. Doesn't that sound familiar? Think about the last time something blindsided you while your attention was completely somewhere else. Not because you weren't careful, not because you made a mistake, just because the real danger was never the thing you were looking at. You focus on the deadline. The layoffs happen anyway. You focus on the fight in front of you. The ground underneath you was never guaranteed to hold. That's the modern mirror hiding inside a 74 million-year-old fossil. This isn't really a story about a dinosaur losing a fight. It's a story about how the thing that gets you is rarely the thing you're watching. The fighting dinosaurs, as the specimen is now known, sits today in the Mongolian Academy of Sciences, and casts of it have traveled to museums around the world specifically because of what it captures. Not because it's rare to find a predator and prey together, because it's rare to find them mid-argument with the universe, both of them still convinced the fight in front of them was the only thing that mattered. There's one more detail worth sitting with. Neither animal shows a single sign of struggling against the sand. No thrashing position, no twisted, panicked posture reaching upward for air. Which means most likely neither animal even had time to register what was happening. The fight simply stopped being a fight and started being a fossil, and the transition between those two states may have taken only seconds. No warning, no escape, no moment of understanding, just a raptor with its claw in the perfect position, a protoceratops with its beak clamped down in defense, and a hillside of wet sand deciding all at once that this was where the story ended. So the next time everything goes wrong for you all at once, remember the Velociraptor that was winning. It wasn't beaten by the thing biting back, it was beaten by the ground it never once thought to watch.